Hi, welcome to Better You Starts Today. My name is Dante Williams and thank you so much for checking out this video. Today we're going to be talking about what makes a place that you're going to be working at or potentially going to apply to a place that you know that you belong at, right? A lot of times, folks, we are applying for jobs, we're looking for places to go, but we're just looking for work, right? Or we're just looking for a job. But there's a significance, though, between a job and a career. Right? A job is just a place that you go to put food on the table. But a career is a place or an industry that you're going into where you feel as though the work that you're doing is important. Now, when we're going to apply to jobs and we're going to be working at places, that's a very important element, right? You're not applying just for a job, you're applying potentially for a career. And in that career, you want to make sure the work that you're doing and the place that you're doing the work at, right, feels good. They value you, the work that you do. They value your ideas. They value your motives. They value your lived experiences. They value your race, culture, and so on and so forth. It's a place where they make you feel welcomed. Then you have the space and capacity, right, to grow and to develop and to produce great outcomes at that company. Okay, so it's a clear, distinct difference between a job and a career. We want a career, not a job. And just a quick story from me. I used to work at several different places that were low minimum wage when I first started getting into the workforce. You know, for me, I just wanted a job at the time. I had my son when I was fairly young, and I just needed to be working, right? So I worked entry-level jobs at places while I was going to school and things, and I must say to you, it felt much more different when I worked a job in comparison to a career, okay? The career, when I went to work or when I woke up or when sometimes I work third shift, so big thanks and shout out to those folks that work third shift, man. You guys are working super hard. I understand in some regards, what it's like. But I work these jobs, and I would just show up and I would dread it. That's the Sunday-itis. When Sunday comes around, we all have it for the most part, unfortunately. But Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening comes around. We had a great weekend. We had some time off. We got to spend time with our family. Next thing you know, we're like, oh man, I got to go back to work. That's what a job feels like sometimes. And unfortunately, too, sometimes our careers can feel like that. But a career where we feel like we are thriving and nourishing, that's a place where we are excited, hopefully, to go into work. Now, there might be some challenges and struggles along the way, but the career place that we're going to, it feels so much better. Like, we don't mind going through and having a tough time, or we don't mind going through and having some tribulations and trials happen. We don't mind those things. Why? Because we thoroughly enjoy what we do. For me, folks, I thoroughly enjoy what I do. I love helping people find careers. I love helping people find jobs that make them feel good. I love doing this work. I love giving people some information and insights to perhaps career information that they would have not necessarily thought about unless they sat down with me. I really love doing this type of work. And that's something that I don't have to be primed about. There's no amount of money that can make me feel as good as I feel as I help folks through finding those career job opportunities. This is something I just love doing. I thoroughly enjoy and love helping people. And a part of that is also helping people find career opportunities that they feel happy about. Their needs are being met. Their family needs are being met. They have a nice balance between work-life balance, right? Where they're not having to work so long, 12, 15-hour days, and they're not getting paid. Finding places where they feel good about who they are, feeling good about the work they're doing, and they can go home to their family and enjoy time with their wife and kids or whomever their significant others are. That's what I love doing, folks. And I would offer this and consider this for you all, is to find that place and to find those industries and jobs and careers that element is in there, where you feel like the work you're doing matters and you feel an energy about you when you're doing that work, okay? That's the clear-cut distinction between just getting a job and getting a career. That's the ultimate goal that we go through. Now, we got to get a job, right? If you don't know what your career, the career you're interested in is yet, that's fine. But we got to get a job, though, and start working so we can start providing for our family in some regards, okay? And so we start somewhere. For me, I started off doing just roofing jobs back in, wow, this is a long time ago. I feel old, I'm dating myself, but back when I was younger in high school, I started off just doing odd and end roofing jobs with one of my really good friends from high school, and I just needed some money. I grew up in a low-income household. My mom worked multiple jobs. She worked super hard, and I wanted to have money to help my mom, and I wanted to have money to buy some food and contribute to my family. And so I did these roofing jobs just to make money. Now, this wasn't my career. I didn't enjoy it, but I did enjoy, though, the ability to get compensation for doing work. And I will tell you, being on a hot roof wasn't my forte, but I do remember the satisfaction that I got when we would look up at the roof and it was a completed job. Nothing felt better saying that I completed this task. I was a part of this. I helped break it down and install the shingles and all that stuff, and I ultimately learned a skill as well, okay? So that was just a job. I didn't necessarily like it. It was hot for me. I definitely wasn't getting paid what I should have got paid, what most people in that profession do, but you know what? It was a stepping stone for me. And folks, the point I'm talking about for this story is that you start where you start. That's fine. You might work at McDonald's. That's fine. Don't let anybody make you feel bad for having a job at McDonald's. Who cares? That's your job. You get a paycheck, you get money, that's fine. You could be happy with that because you are providing for yourself and your family. Nothing wrong with that. But just know that's a stepping stone, right? You'll learn things at that time period that will correlate to your next opportunity. Okay? So the same back to my analogy, when I worked this roofing job, I didn't like it really. I knew I didn't want to do this in the long run, but man, I learned a lot about work ethic. I learned a lot about time management. I learned a lot about project management, surprisingly enough. I mean, you got micro projects that you're doing while you're doing this roof. There's a lot of things that have to take place. All of those things I learned doing this roofing job that I didn't like necessarily, right? So we all have those moments where you start off at a level and you work the job, you get successful at it, and then you find what you need to do to go on the next path, right? That is vital. So you start here, but don't get stuck there, and don't let people, once again, make you feel bad about where you start at. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with working at a McDonald's. Because why? You're working, my friend. You're providing. There's nothing wrong with that. And now, once you start doing that job, now you're starting to think about, what path do I want? What is it that I actually want to do? How do you really find your passion, right? Those are all things that are very important that we'll talk a little bit more about as the show progresses and goes along. But back to the original point is that to find the place that you feel good about working is that they set up an environment that is fertile. And what do I mean by fertile? When you walk into the door, your manager is supportive of you. Your manager is demanding, but not demeaning. There's a clear distinction between that as well, right? Demanding is we have high standards and expectations here at this company. We expect to produce outcomes that are good. We expect to do well quarter after quarter or whatever the job might be. That is demanding, right? And then they require us to do things as well. Demeaning, though, is that where the manager, because of their low ego strength, the manager puts you down. They make you feel less than. They make you feel like you're not worth anything. They make you feel like you're insignificant, and they make you feel like you're lower than they are. But that is a manager that is not a good manager, right? A good manager is able to see your skill sets and talents and motivate you. Folks, one of the hardest things to do in this world is to motivate another human being to do something. And that's ultimately what we're asking managers to do. Now, most are not as effective as they should be. But because they're not giving you enough good feelings about what you are and who you are in that company, you don't feel motivated. You might be asking yourself this question, some of you that are sitting and watching this now, like, why am I even really doing this job? What do I do here that actually makes this company better? What do I do here that actually is going towards making society a better place, perhaps, if that's something that's an intrinsic need that you have? You might be asking yourself those questions, and that might be a telltale sign that the place that you're working at is not necessarily the place that you want to stay at, okay? Now, I'm not saying to get up and quit your job and walk out. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying, though, is to explore that thought a little bit more. What is it that this place is missing out on? What are they not doing that you need to have, right? What elements are they not providing you? As I said before, wages and compensation are a prerequisite, okay? Getting paid and having health benefits and all that good stuff, that's just a prereq. That's what places where you go on for a career, they should have that, okay? But there's other element that must be there where you feel fulfilled in that place that you're working at. And that's a sign that you know that the place that you're working at is a place that you feel literally valued, where your boss or whomever, your manager, director, whatever their position or title is, where they make you feel so important in this organization that they want to keep you and retain you, right? A lot of places, they talk the good game about, yeah, we want to retain our workers, we want our workers to stay here forever, but they don't do the necessary thing to retain their staff, right? They don't set up an environment where people can grow and develop. If you want to become an executive officer at a company or organization, but the place you're at now doesn't give you that space or the autonomy to grow and develop, or maybe mentor or get mentored or shadow someone, and you don't even have that might not be the place for you then, because they don't value the internal hiring process. Now, I'm not saying that all companies need to hire internal exclusively, no. However, though, companies should be tactfully recruiting internally their own employees to become that next thing. There should be succession planning taking place in companies, right? So if you're not necessarily at that point yet where you are at the job that is able to provide that, don't worry, don't quit your job, but just know, start looking for those places that have it. Like I said, these are all characteristics that you can see when you start applying. And even too, you're not desperate when you're applying for a job, okay? That's substantial when you think about this. You're not desperate, right? You don't need this place. You want this place, but you don't need it. You're not a desperate person just looking to take any old job that comes by. You're looking for a career. Like, I'm going to be here. Just like a marriage, folks, or getting in a long-term committed relationship with somebody. You're not just going to marry or get along with someone for any old person that walks by and says they like you. Of course not. What are you going to do? You're going to take time to get to know this place, to ask questions about this person. You're going to want to get to know a little bit about their past experiences and what's made them them. You're going to want to get to know about what they do well, what their strengths and talents are. And you're going to want to also know about maybe what they don't do well. But as long as they're authentic and transparent with you about their faults, that's fine. And they're recognizing that they're trying to do better. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you're going to get in a relationship with someone, or a job or career relationship with someone, there should be this transparency between the manager and the supervisee. There should be transparency where they're telling you, this is what our intentions are. Someone once told me, they're a very wise person. They said, Dante, you never want to work at a place that talks about you and not with you, right? They make decisions for you, but not with you. Think about it. That's, example of that is, that's your boss going into their boss's office to have a closed door conversation. And what are they talking about? They're talking about you. That doesn't feel good. And that is another sign that's not the place for you to be at. If someone's having conversations behind your back, or they're taking out staff and coworkers out to lunch, but they don't invite you, and behind your back they're talking about you, folks, that's not a place that you want to stay in the long term. Believe me, those are signs that they're trying to get rid of you. And unfortunately, there could be nothing that you did wrong. You could just be simply getting targeted for various reasons. And that's not a good feeling. But you don't have to put up with that, okay? Just recognize that that is what it is. That's a sign and a symptom. And because they're doing that, now you can go out and explore the place that you need to go to that'll value you, that'll be open and honest with you. If you make a mistake at work, we're not perfect. All of us make mistakes. If you make a mistake at work, though, they're willing to cover you. They're willing to tell you and sit you down and be like, hey, you know what? This is what I noticed that you did. But actually, if you did it like this, it'd look a little bit differently. Let's work on that together so we can improve together. Versus they come down at you saying that I'm better than you, do what I say, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't feel good, right? That superiority aspect is worthless in management in today's world we live in. And it was worthless back when they did it originally before. But unfortunately, we've normalized abnormal behavior. What I mean by that, we've normalized doing things that are demeaning and disrespectful to people, and because we've done it for so long, other managers and supervisors, directors and executives do the same pattern of behavior. They think it's a cultural norm to be disrespectful in their companies to their employees, or to be demeaning, or to be negative to people consistently and constantly. No one grows from negativity, folks. And if all your manager or supervisor does is belittle you all the time, it's not you that's the problem. If you're actually trying to do better and you're actually trying to do your job, but this person's just completely disrespectful to you, it's not you, my friend, it's them. But they don't want to say that I'm an ineffective manager and I need to change things to be a little bit better at what I'm doing, right? So folks, that's in a nutshell what is the thing that you should be knowing, to know that you're working at a place that you belong, and you're working at a place that you feel valued, and you're working at a place that you can actually go and develop a career. So thank you so much for your time today. Feel free to reach out to me if you have any comments or questions, and I'll be back again. So thank you so much for your time. Have a good day.